Okay, Seth is actually joining us from Logan, Utah, which is, like, I'm just finding out, it's this entrepreneurial kind of capital of the United States. It's some really exciting stuff happening there. Seth and I met because, well, we met on Twitter, like so many of the other people I've both befriended and married. I haven't married that many people, but the one I did marry is on Twitter, and we met on Twitter. And Seth does all sorts of things, including social media optimization, search engine optimization. And if these words are new concepts for you, that's great, because we're going to get a crash course in them this evening. So Seth, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll probably stand or sit. I'll stand if I get nervous. So, and I tend to like pace when I get nervous, so I'll my pace in my seat. No, it's great to be here. We are going to talk about search engine optimization. By raise of hands, how many of you have heard that term before, search engine optimization? And by raise of hands, how many of you know what that means? Okay, so maybe like 2/3 of you, that's okay. Well, what search engine optimization basically means, and we'll kind of, we're going to talk about a little bit about search engine optimization, a little bit about social media, and they're all under this market, or under this umbrella of internet marketing. So you could say there's this over this giant umbrella called internet marketing, and underneath it is marketing for search engines, social media marketing, pay-per-click advertising, and there are others, but those are the main ones that would be considered under this umbrella. And social media in the past and SEO haven't mixed as much as they are beginning to now, with the surging popularity in social media. Websites like Facebook are exploding. Twitter is another one that's exploding. At the beginning of the year, around 6 million people used Twitter. And now they have about 10 million active users, so about 3 months later. And then Facebook is actually growing a Twitter a week. So, can I put that in perspective for you? They're growing between 7 million and 10 million people per week. So there's a huge increase in use of social media and people getting on, and it has a lot, like everything's kind of shifting. People are watching fewer commercials because of TiVo and things like that, and they're interacting more with each other online, which I'm obviously you guys have been talking about quite a bit. And so we're going to talk about getting sites found online. So most people use Google, and so that's kind of what we'll talk about. This is actually the Google statistics for the 1st of July to the 13th of April, so for about the last 10 months or so. By far, most people use Google. Yahoo is second, Windows Live is third, and MSN is, well, yeah, they're about pretty much the same thing for the most part. AOL, and then others like Ask down at the bottom. And so there are a lot of terms to know as far as like search engine optimization goes, and if you have a website, what you want to do. We're just going to go over 4 terms here. The first term is a meta tag, and so there are 4 meta tags that you should know when considering or building a website if you have a website. There is the title tag, which is if you have a tab open, that's what shows up on the tab. And these title tags are actually in the HTML. Does everyone know where to find the title tags, or on their website, or all this meta description? Does anybody know? Okay, cool. Do any of you understand WordPress? Work with WordPress at all? Okay, so quite a few people work with WordPress. WordPress is a great platform. At Advent Creative, we use WordPress a lot. We build a lot of custom WordPress sites and blogs. It's pretty easy to access the metadata information. All metadata means is it's the stuff that search engines use to kind of understand what your site is about. So yeah, it's in the header area of the HTML, and so when a search engine comes to a site, it looks at what the title tag is, the short description of the page, and then it looks at like any keywords that you've entered in, to give it a clue of what the website is about. And then there's what's called a robots title tag, which allows people to, you can say, I don't want Google indexing this page, and you would say, no index in the robots title tag, or all the links coming from this page, I don't want Google to follow. And so that's what the meta tags are basically. Any questions on meta tags? Yeah.
Curious, why would you not want Google to follow?
If you're in development, like if you're developing a website and you don't want people to see it while it's under construction, you wouldn't want them to put it in their index. And there's something that we will kind of talk about, which is PageRank, which is the next one. PageRank was actually it's a measure of a site's trust and authority on a scale from 0 to 10. And so Google generally puts sites that it wants to put the most relevant, trustworthy information in front of a user. And so they created this a lot to help control spam. So like spamming sites would come up, and so Google is this was a fix for that, is PageRank. And so they rate your site on how much they trust you. One of the ways that they trust you is your domain age, how old your domain is. They typically don't like new sites, and so they can actually put you in what's called the sandbox. I've had clients get in the sandbox before because it was a really new site. We were building links into the page, and so they're like, oh no, let's put you down on the search engine, and the search engine ranking page, the search results will put you down a little bit further, and usually that's temporary. But you can build authority by getting inbound links to your site. So if someone links to your site and their site's about hedgehogs, for example, I know Gwen loves hedgehogs, and so if someone links to a site using the word hedgehogs, okay, and they use the anchor text, the text that's in blue, that's actually important. Google takes that into account as to finding out what that site is about, and so if that site is linked to with the word hedgehogs, Google's like, alright, I know a lot of people are linking to it saying this is about hedgehogs. Google gathers that it's about hedgehogs. And that's one way that it will count your site as being trustworthy because of the democratic nature of the web. That's called off-page optimization. There are kind of two parts to SEO. There's on-page, which is the stuff you can change, and there is off-page, which is the stuff that you cannot change, or it's harder to change, which is link building, so building links into your site. Yeah.
And that off page is how many links come to your site, how many sites people come from other hedgehog sites to your site.
Yeah, and it matters, how many links you get. They count whether you have links back to their site, so, and they kind of, no one really knows what the formula is exactly. We kind of have to go at search engine optimization. We have to look at it the same way that we have to look at exploring the universe. Nothing's automatically published on how the universe works. Google doesn't publish how their algorithms work, and so we have to experiment. And even though we don't know how the universe works, we can experiment and find out a lot. And so that's kind of what SEO is. But coming back to PageRank, yeah, your PageRank does depend a lot on inbound links. That's one of the heavy features. Yes.